I'm still paying attention to my lessons, but I'm also paying attention to my kids. But this is like
Right.
during the weekends.
Right.
Whereas during the weekdays, it's like, all right, cool, work block, study block, and in between, it's like, oh, Tuesdays and Wednesdays, or Tuesdays and Thursdays, or Thursdays and Fridays, I have my group meetings with the team. So I
Mhm.
have that
Mhm.
hour in between that cushion, and then boom. So there's that. But I also have like a small case of insomnia, so I tend to stay up
Yeah.
extremely late,
Yeah.
like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm still working on the product and or
Okay.
project or studying, just trying to get ahead of the curve, so that way it's not so difficult on me in the long run.
Okay. So it sounds like your main study technique is kind of like using the block time methodology.
Yeah.
Do you have any additional study techniques? Like, I don't know, do you use things like Notion or write things down in
Yes.
like a bullet journal or
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know,
Notion.
Google
Notion.
Calendar? Hmm.
So Notion is actually one of the ones that was introduced into our group because we were trying to figure out how to collaborate with one another, with
Okay.
especially with our project. So I ended up, doing the free sign up. I downloaded the application for the desktop, so I actually have it on my computer right now.
Okay.
And I know that for work they actually use it too for a wiki page. So that way it has like all the topics, has the URL links to the specific pages. So it's very cohesive with everything that I do. But I
Okay.
partially use Notion, but most of it's just um, either I save the links to specific topics that I have. So
Hmm.
like if it's a specific part in pandas that I need, okay, so that link is saved in Notion, and it's also saved in my own little like Notepad plus plus. So I have
Okay.
it there. So I use that, and Notepad plus plus. I don't know if you know this, but it's actually a very good like initial portion to coding. So you can
Okay.
actually write your Python code there, and once you've written it there, you can save it as a .py, and then when you
Okay.
run it, boom, it works. Otherwise, write the code there, copy and paste it into whatever platform you're using. So some people use Visual Studio Code.
Hmm.
Other people are using Google Colab, like myself and the group project that we're using.
Hmm.
If not, Jupyter Notebooks, that's the other one. So you can write your code, test it out, fine tune it, and then copy and paste it into the cells or places that you need to paste it, and then see what's going on.
Cool.
So it's really nice.
Yeah, you guys have a cohesive system. Our group, we're mostly communicating through Slack and GitHub, but yeah, we've also been using WhatsApp. We jump on calls a lot. So, yeah, that's been helpful for us.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a good option too. You could always use Google Meet too if a lot of people don't
Oh,
have
Google
like
Meet.
app.
Okay.
Yeah, because they can have it on their phone too. So it's a very quick app to use.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I've been writing down all of your tips. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about imposter syndrome.
Oh
So
Lord.
so I know for me as a 30 something trying to break into tech, I've definitely had to deal with my share of imposter syndrome.
Mhm.
So I like to ask people how they, I guess, overcome it or recognize when it's happening. Like, what are some tips for, dealing with it or making sure it doesn't like overwhelm you?
So um, this is actually the first time I'm hearing about the whole imposter syndrome.
Hmm.
So maybe explaining it a little bit so I can kind of understand it. So that way, then I can give you the full description of it too. It also helps for any other viewers too.
Yeah. So for me, when I think about imposter syndrome or situations that bring it on, it's a feeling of not feeling as if you belong in the space that you're in. For example, if you are in a new position and maybe, I don't know, you don't feel like you should have been hired for that position for whatever reason, even though you were qualified and they hired you, you went through all of the interview steps to land that position.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so for me, imposter syndrome sometimes comes up when I'm coding or maybe even in group meetings when I'm trying to explain like a code or next steps that we should take. Even though I'm still like very new, sometimes I feel like, oh, maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, even though I've researched the topic.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I just have to remind myself, like, hey, Tamara, you actually do know a little something. So give yourself some more credit.
Okay, so that kind of makes a lot more sense. So imposter syndrome is very tough to overcome, at least with my kind of mindset, because I have that kind of overthinking process, because
Mhm.
it's like when one thought leads into three, three multiplies to nine, and
Mm,
so on and so forth. So it's very difficult, and it's not just during work hours or during the coding hour or during even just normal life situations. It's tough, but the one thing that's a bit of reassurance is the fact of my why.
mhm.
That's one of the things I've always learned to always keep in mind is my why. Why am I in this program?
Right.
Why am I doing this? Or why have I started doing something and why am I going to give up? The why is always there. So for me, the way that I've overcome my imposter syndrome is, why am I in this program? Well,
Mhm.
I'm here to show as an example to my two kids, anything is possible. You
Right.
have a dream that you want to achieve, go for it. You can't achieve it, oh well, you tried.
Right.
The important is, why did you do it? Because I wanted to, and I wanted to achieve something better than I thought I could. You achieved it, keep going for more. You didn't achieve it, there's always something better.
Right.
Never stop, never stop. And that why is what keeps me going no matter what. So why am I doing this? I'm doing this for myself, but more importantly, I'm proving a point to my kids. I'm proving a point to anybody who's part of a program, whether free or not, part of a
Mhm.
school, part of work, or any type of position. Why did you get hired? Well, you needed the work. Oh, I wanted to get paid because I'm jobless, or whatever the position it was. I just wanted to fill it and get my day over with. No, why do you really need
Yeah.
it? That's the biggest drive in anything. And that's, ironically, I learned that during my times when I was working for not a sales, I wouldn't say a sales position, but more of a
Mhm.
networking position,
Okay.
where I had to interact with more and more people. And when I had to explain what my why was, because that's part of
Yeah.
the program, it's like, well, what's your why? Why are you in this program for them? And why are you trying to let me know that I should join you? And
Yes.
when I would tell them my why, and they were like, okay, that makes more sense. Now I
Yes.
understand. Maybe I'll listen to you more.
Wow, I love your answer. I love it. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Yes. So on that note, what advice would you give students coming after you?
I would honestly tell them, don't be discouraged.
Mhm.
Whether it's your first rodeo or it's, you're a veteran to code, for anything else, but you've never dealt with data science. Don't be
Mhm.
discouraged. It's never about whether or not it's going to work out for you. It's whether or not you're going to take the learning experience from this.
Mhm.
That's going to make you either a greater coder
Mhm.
or even a better analytical person, where you can
Right.
analyze things in a different way. See, for me, I was already analytical. I always analyze the situation and try to process things differently, because that's how I was bred, due to multiple years of IT,
Mhm.
multiple years of different positions in the service industry. I mean, by service industry, it's restaurants. But point in case, not to let yourself be in a bigger fear than you should.
Mhm.
Fear is always going to be your downfall, but the thing is, if you can overcome it, that fear was only temporary. It's the success that's going to make you better.
Yes. Awesome. Okay. So let's think about 4 weeks from now, or maybe even 2 months from now. You've completed the program. Your resume is nicely polished.
Yeah.
What is your ideal career path? Where do you see yourself?
So ironically, when you were asking that, it brought me back to the career positions that I was always searching for, and I was always looking into, like, maybe I should try my hand at working for Google or even Apple or Microsoft even. And it's always that fear of, well, do I have the right qualifications?
Hmm.
So seeing as how within 2 months, I'll have the DS4A as part of my education, but also
Yes.
showing them, hey, I have a certificate knowing that I have data analysis. I've worked with Python, so I know enough coding to whether it's to get me by or to even assist you in your program, in your not your program but your business, to go far. Well, give me the chance, give me the opportunity, and if I fail, well, hey, I learned it. Put me somewhere else, move me around, and I feel like Google would be one of them. Like that's my top
Mm,
choice. Google would be my
okay.
top choice. Microsoft is a really tough second with Apple, but I honestly wouldn't mind working stay in the automotive industry.
Hmm.
Staying
Yes.
in there. So whether it's electric cars or even renewable sources, not aside from electrical, and if not, I would have to say I would want to be more in. I would still want to stay in the IT field for
Okay.
more of the analysis of like what products need to be sold out more or what products need to be pushed further. So like
Okay.
more processors, more memory, more cases for the computers or desktops, or even for for larger businesses. What type of servers do we need to push out? That sort of perspective.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Thank you, Matthew. You are definitely modestly magnificent. We see you at Google and don't forget about us. Actually, can we follow up with you in, let's say, 2 months to see how you're doing, just to check in, to see how you are on your journey?
Of course, I wouldn't mind that at all.
Perfect. And do you have any social media contact information you would like to share if anyone wants to
Um,
follow up with you?
so as of right now, ironically, I have TikTok. I do post the most random things, and I do duets, but it's mainly just Twitter. I had to redo a new Twitter, so that one has more of Microsoft, some gaming, some of the regular things like topics that interest me. So that's I believe my Twitter handle is I believe Risky Business 88.
Okay.
It's spelled very uniquely, so I could always send that to you later on, so you could
Yes.
add it somewhere on the screen.
Yes.
And if not, I do have Facebook. You're more than welcome to connect on Facebook. I'm rarely on social media because I try to stay away from it, only because my focus needs to be on work, school,
Yes.
and my kids. I try to
Yes.
the big threes for me. So
Yes.
those are my big focus, and that's what I stay on. But I'm always welcome to stay connected on social media. I do plan to go back onto it, just so I can stay connected, not just to friends but family as well.
Okay. Perfect. So thank you so much for sharing your story today. It was definitely inspirational. And we will have your Twitter and TikTok handles in the show notes and on the screen so anyone inspired by your story can reach out to you. Do you have any last words for us?
Whatever you guys do watching this feed or watching this video, make sure you follow Tamara for more information on any of the interviews. She's going to do an amazing job, and her channel's going to skyrocket up.
Oh, we appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.
Channel designed to